Very good morning to all. Warm greetings from Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology, Dream to be University, Chennai. My name is R.M. Joni. Hope everyone is safe and well at home. We are very happy about your overwhelming responses. Thank you all for your great support. On behalf of the organizing committee, I take the privilege in welcoming you all to the Alumni Webinar Series organized by Satyabama IEI Student Branch in association with the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering and the Institution of Engineers, India. On the first day of Alumni Webinar Series, we have Mr. Karudiyar Ganapathy, who has joined us all the way from BMW, Germany, to handle the session on applications of electronics in automotive systems. We are very happy to have you here, sir. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
It is indeed a unique pleasure and privilege for us to express our sincere gratitude to our founder chancellor, Colonel Dr. J.P.S. sir, who always showers his divine blessings. We take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude and earnest thanks to our Chancellor Ma'am, Dr. Marie Zina Johnson, and the President Sir, Dr. Marie Johnson, for their continuous support and high endeavors in motivating us to organize online webinars during this COVID-19 crisis situation. Coming to today's topic, application of electronics in automotive applications plays a major role in controlling automotive electronics. Automotive electronics include modern electric power steering, HEV main inverter, central body control, braking system, seat control, and so on. And to know more about this, today we have Mr. Karudiyar Ganapathy, who is an automotive electronics engineer, BMW, Germany, and also he is the proud alumnus of Satyabama. We once again welcome you, sir. I take the privilege in introducing Mr. Karudiyar. Mr. Karudiyar has started his career as an IoT developer at LifeSense Solutions, Chennai. He has also worked in OT Mafia, Delhi as an IoT security engineer from 2017 to 2018. Now, at present, he is an automotive electronics engineer at BMW, Germany since 2018. His expertise in IoT and automotive electronics. He has completed his undergraduate degree in electronics and communication engineering and postgraduate degree in embedded systems from Satyabama University, Chennai. He has also done MBA in technology management at Anna University, Chennai. We are very happy to have you here, sir. The session is all yours. Now we can get started, sir. The session is yours, sir.
Thanks for the introduction, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Today topic for the next 1 hour, the complete discussion is about automotive electronics and IoT in vehicles. And already Joni ma'am given a full introduction about me, related my professional career and experience in IoT and automotive electronics. So I had 3 years and 3.5 years experience in complete IoT, and I'm currently working in automotive electronics as an AUTOSAR developer. Yeah, this is the plan for the today whole webinar. So for the next 1 hour, we are going to discuss about complete automotive electronics and application of automotive electronics and industry 4.0 and IoT security. So first 10 minutes, I will give the brief introduction about automotive electronics, what is automotive electronics and applications of automotive electronics. Then another 10 minutes, we will see the IoT in automotive, the use cases of IoT, what is the role of IoT, and what is the future perspective related with the automotive field, how it's looking for the IoT and machine learning. And the third point is from our side, this industry 4.0. and why Industry 4.0 is needed, what is the role of Industry 4.0, and current trends in Industry 4.0. Then after that, we will see the IoT security. And finally, we will see the complete IoT technology to the students, how they can learn and what are the protocols they can learn and how they can shape their career in automotive field. And last 5 minutes, depends on the question, we will decide about the clarification and other things related with this webinar. And you can post your questions in the chat message. So after completion of our session, we can I will answer all your questions. In between, if you have questions, you can anytime stop me and we will discuss it. So I will give the first priority to your question, and after that we will move on it. You can see this slide. This is the first slide from my side related with automotive electronics. You can see all the components, what is there inside the car. And before starting this session, I will clearly say that today, the next 1 hour, we are not going to discuss about what is car, what are the functionalities of car, because you people already knows about the car completely. So today discussion about how the car functionality is working, how the electronics supporting to the automotive field. So you can see the electronics components, what is there inside the car, and the complete discussion about how this electronics components functionalities is working and how the communication is happening inside the car. So you can see this slide anytime. Always we'll come back to this slide to see about the electronics components. This is one of the kind of modern vehicle. That's all, because we have according to BMW, we have a more higher end vehicle also, but this is not that one. It's a modern vehicle. Okay, first we will start about automotive electronics. Why we are talking about the automotive electronics? What is automotive electronics? Why this topic is very important right now? And the first, see what is automotive electronics. We know already commercial electronics, industrial electronics, and military electronics also. So automotive electronics is specially designed electronics mainly for automobiles. So in olden days, in 1960, 1950, we know if someone hearing the word called car, then they think always about the mechanical and electrical parts. No one thinks about electronics. Even current scenario also the same. But in 1950 to 1970, most of the parts were mechanical. Then after that, electrical. But after 1990, we can clearly say that after 2000, electronics taken care a lot of role inside the vehicles. So that is the reason automotive electronics is very, very important. We can say that now 60% of role is electronics. Mechanical and electrical parts are getting freezed. I'm not saying there is no research and development there. It's still research and development is going on, but still now currently involvement of IoT, machine learning, big data, automotive electronics is getting boom, and for customization and sophistication and giving the importance to the driver, safety related and everything. Now electronics taking care of a lot of role for automotive. Okay, already you people knows about the electronics, knows about the electrical. You hear the word called IoT in lot of places, and currently lot of things, and wherever we are going, completely people are talking about IoT only. So today's session is, I'm not going to say about what is electronics, what is IoT, nothing like that. Just we are going to cover far better than this. Just first question, you are seeing commercial, the temperature level is start from 0 degree to 85, and industrial in this slide. But see that military electronics always supports minus 55 to 125. Automotive is minus 40 to 125. Then instead of using the automotive electronics, instead of preferring the automotive electronics, why can't we prefer the military electronics? So this is the first question always will come in our mind when we are seeing this slide. So the question is, if we are preferring the military electronics, we have to spend a lot of money on this. So that is the reason, according to the automotive application, we are always preferring the automotive electronics. The temperature range is minus 40 to 125 degrees Celsius. And we can, I can separate the automotive electronics in different phases. So the first phase of automotive electronics in olden days, introduction of electronics in critical application. So when you can think about it, the critical application related with the automotive, what it is, always one thing will come over in our mind: safety and driver information and entertainment, the comfort, the wiper, seat heating, your central locking, ABS. These are the critical applications, airbags. But in phase one, introduction of electronics in critical application, there only the information about driver information and entertainment. Example, radio we used. And that time we had a very low intelligent electronic system. You can think about 1990 to 2000, how we designed our car and what are the things we concentrated and give the importance inside the vehicle that time. So engine performance, there was no impact based on electronics. Still engine performance depends on the same, but according to electronics, in the phase one, there was no impact on electronics. From the electronic, there was no impact on engine performance. There was no driving and driver skills. And currently, we are talking about autonomous cars. But in 1990 to 2000, the phase one, we just introduced electronics only for a critical application. But in phase two, electronics starts to support the critical application. So automatically the engine optimization topic comes into that, and pollution control, emission, and ABS, airbags, everything we started to introduce. And in the advanced electronics, we started to, that means in the industry, started to focus on GPS and parking radar, and these all are the things. And fuel control, engine performance, everything we started to support the critical applications. But in phase three, electronics control critical application. See the phase two, electronics supports critical application. Phase three, electronics control critical applications. So when we are started to control, the first thing is fuel engine and ignition and active safety, passive safety, and driver information and entertainment, and full control of engine performance, control of driving and driver skills. These are the things come under the phase three. So in that phase three, electronics starts to control critical application. In the phase four, fully automatic driver. So you can think in the about phase four hereafter. Phase three, currently where we are in. Phase two, just you can think about the last decade. Phase one, when we started to introduce the electronics in automotive field. So we can see a lot of examples in the upcoming slides. So the electronics is there. So sensors already we have, currently we have smart sensors. We introduce a lot of sensors inside the vehicles. So when we are introducing the sensors, we are producing, that means industry, the vehicle is producing a lot of data outside the world. Very clear about the electronics in different phases. Okay. So who will control, who will manage all these things? We can take example of engine. Engine we have when we started the vehicle. So now here engine optimization in the phase two, we started about the engine optimization. So you can think in the way engine is heart, then who is the brain for automotive electronics or automotive field or in vehicle, in modern vehicle? That is actually the term called electronics control unit. It's simple as a microcontroller. You can think in the way microcontroller. For controlling our sensors and everything, we need one microcontroller. That point is electronic control unit. First, before jumping into or before entering into the electronic control unit, first we will see why electronic control is needed, what we can do with that, how it's supporting the automobile application. So the automobile application, and again I'm saying that today discussion about automobile application related with embedded system point of view. So first automobile application, the word called computer, car and computer. In late 1990s, we had an auto PC inside the car. Currently, we are calling that one as a dashboard. You can see BMW, Audi, and other cars. Driver, in nearby driver, we have one dashboard. You can automate everything there, and you can click it and automate. The thing is about the first slide. So you can automate everything from your dashboard, and your vehicle will convey all the information to driver and passenger via dashboard. But in olden days, in late 1990s, we have a computer, car and computer. It's mainly for video capable, music capable, Bluetooth capable, GPS, navigation, everything were present there. But in the 1968, so now application, electronics, and related with IoT, everything we are discussing about now. But Volkswagen have introduced the electronic brain in 1968 for fuel injection ignition. There they have introduced one controller that is called engine control unit. We can currently calling as a electronic control unit. They introduced that time. The purpose is fuel injection ignition. For that purpose, they introduced it. In the second application is telematics. In after that, in the communication field, the world 3G, 4G, and tracking and everything has started in 2000, late 2000. That time telematics, telecommunication, and informatics, the word and the technology comes into the picture of automotive field. There we are collecting, sending, and receiving, storing information. What kind of information automotive will store, send? We have a lot of sensors inside the automotive. Maybe your seat, lock, your wiper, your engine status related, battery, many things are there. So lot of sensor we are involving inside the car. That means vehicle. So collecting the information, sending the information, receiving the information, and storing the information. So here IoT, the word has started. So mainly for vehicle tracking and wireless vehicle safety communication, intelligent vehicle technology, your car sharing technology. Your car sharing technology in the sense car to car communication, satellite navigation, road safety. So these are the technology will come inside the telematics application. I will clearly explain about all these technologies in later. First, you can think about it. Telematics is one of the field we need it for automotive field. And next one is infotainment, completely just entertaining the driver and the passenger. It's like smart cars, hardware. It's related in information and entertainment, you related media and all other things. Mainly one of the another IoT and machine learning feature will come under the infotainment application. So it's a collection of hardware and software. It's equally related with the embedded system. It's a combination of hardware and software. The same way here, the collection of hardware and software in automobile field, and it's related to video content, your entertainment related informations. And now ordinary, how we are changing the ordinary car into smart car and driver assistance, car to car communication, vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to infrastructure communication. So two things, car to car, that means vehicle to vehicle communication, and vehicle to infrastructure communication. I will explain you that. Before now, three, according to electronics, three application is very important: the computer, and another one is telematics, then infotainment. Then based on these three, now next we'll enter into the controller part. So who are supplying the major controller suppliers to the automotive field? Now first one is Freescale, Renesas, Infineon, ST Microelectronics, and Texas. Bosch. Bosch is taking care of a lot of roles in automotive. Bosch is one of the main supplier in the world, mainly for the automotive field. And next we will start to electronic control unit. Now you know what is automotive electronics, you know the applications of automotive electronics, and currently you can think about it, what are the applications as a user you are expecting for your vehicle. So maybe till now you doesn't know about it. Okay, who have done all these things inside your vehicle? The answer is electronic control unit. The electronic control unit is simple as a microcontroller. You can think in the way Arduino, you can think in that point. But Arduino is very, the application level Arduino is very small. Electronic control unit is not like that. It will do a lot of applications. It will support a lot of applications. It's kind of onboard device inside the car, and most electronic control part in car, automobile, it's in engine control mainly related. And you can, in the modern vehicle, currently in BMW, the ECU, it's around 100 ECUs we are fixing inside the car. But in modern vehicle, it starts from 40. Think about in 1968, Volkswagen kept one ECU for the engine control. Currently in modern vehicle, 40 ECUs are inside the car. That means inside your vehicle. So think about it, all the application, who is taken care. So who is giving all the information to the outside world? Who is controlling the sensor? Who is passing the information within the car? That means onboard devices. So everything is electronic control unit. Main purpose of this one, fuel injection, emission control, your AC system, turbocharger control. But this applications are more than this one. And we have a lot of, already I told, modern vehicle have a 40 ECUs. So 40 ECUs means these are the main important and important ECUs inside the vehicle. The first one is door control unit. Second one is engine control unit. Third one is your steering control. HMI, human machine interface, what you have seen in the dashboard. Seat control unit, speed control unit, telematic, transmission, brake, battery management system, powertrain. Lot of ECUs are there inside the car. Mainly engine control units are very, very important, because the engine control unit is the master ECU inside the vehicle. Door control unit is also supporting it. Seat control unit, those are the not so important ECUs, but engine control unit and battery management system, all other things are very, very important. So currently we are talking about only the combustion engine related. We are not coming related with the electric vehicles. Future is already, you know it, electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles. These all are the future in the automotive industry. But now we are discussing the technologies, whatever we are using till 2020. Right. Now we discussed about ECU. So are there inside the car. Okay, ECU is like equal to microcontroller. It's taking care all the applications related, control the sensor and everything. Okay, how one ECU will communicate with another ECU? Already we had discussion, like we talked about, like 40 modern ECUs we have inside the car. So if 40 ECUs are there inside the car, how the ECU will make a communication between the ECUs? You can see this is inter-ECU communication. You can see the ECM.
engine control module, and another one is ICM, your infotainment control module. Or so how these two ECUs will make a communication? Already you know it. When you are thinking about the microcontroller, how we are making a communication? The same way via bus. Same for automotive field, we have a protocol called CAN. Very basic protocol. Currently, we have a lot of protocols, but CAN is a very basic protocol introduced by Robert Bosch. CAN. So we have a CAN bus, communication between two ECUs. So if the ECM wants to send the information to ICM, they have to send via CAN bus. But generally, already we discussed ECM is the master ECU. So ICM will send the information to ECM via CAN bus. What kind of information, for an example, what kind of information ICM will send to ECM? It will say about your engine temperature warning. Then ECM will receive it and it will give the information to your dashboard, and automatically dashboard will display to the driver engine temperature warning symbol. And always in electronics parts, might be, I don't know how many people have seen inside your car, we all, one lamp will glow. That is malfunction indication lamp. If something goes wrong inside your car, automatically malfunction indication lamp starts to blink. Okay, who will provide the information to the malfunction indication lamp? Or how the malfunction indication lamp comes to know about it? Okay, something is wrong. See, everything is based on electronic control unit. Okay, where we will store all this information? As an electronics engineer, as a software developer, where we store this information inside the electronic control unit. The same way we have a memory module inside this electronic control unit, like same RAM, ROM, SRAM, EEPROM. EEPROM is an old word right now. Now currently, according to the AUTOSAR, Automotive Open System Architecture, we are using the word called NVM. Okay, in the above picture, in down you are seeing that ECM to ICM communication, fuel tank and low fuel warning, fuel gauge, everything. In the upper, what is that? Fuel sensor, temperature sensor, and fuel indication, temperature indication. What do you mean by SWC? SWC is a software component. So in olden days, before we can separate the automotive field before AUTOSAR, after AUTOSAR. So AUTOSAR is a kind of architecture, is not a new technology, is architecture how the components will communicate inside the vehicle. So currently AUTOSAR is in peak. So for students, if you people want to enter into the automotive field, currently you know the AUTOSAR, then you can easily enter into the automotive electronics field. Okay, SWC, it's a software component. So everything is a software component. One software component will make a communication with another software component via RTE. RTE is a runtime environment. AUTOSAR is a vast topic. We need around a month to discuss about the AUTOSAR. But I will simply say that what is AUTOSAR? Automotive Open System Architecture. Currently, how we are placing the software component inside, everything is talking about not like, okay, sensor you have to place here, and engine control unit you have to place in this place. No, nothing like about. It's only related with the software related, where you have to keep your software code. That means anyhow it's going to be in ECM, but always we will have a separate architecture according to the architecture where we have to keep our software component. That means the functionalities application. Every application according to software component in the AUTOSAR world is a software component. So this is a way one ECM will communicate with another ECM. That means one electronic control unit will communicate with another control unit. Already as a student or professor, you know about it, UART, I2C, SPI. But when we are discussing about the industry protocol, CAN comes into the picture. So in industry 4.0, I will say about other protocol also. But currently in automotive field, CAN is basic. Now currently CAN-FD, FlexRay, LIN, MOST. In according to industry 4.0, IoT machine learning, the next future protocol is Ethernet. So CAN, we are going to say that CAN is obsolete, but still we are using the CAN. CAN is still more efficient inside the automotive, but future is Ethernet, DOIP. So these are the protocols will take care of the role inside the automotive. Why this kind of protocol has to take care of the, why, what is the problem with the CAN? Nothing is a problem with the CAN, but Ethernet and DOIP will support the IoT. That is the reason we have to take care of the Ethernet and DOIP protocol for automotive field. Okay, let's discuss about those things in IoT section. First, we will see about the electronics part. Now, this is one major electronic control unit where they are placing inside the cars. How the communication is happening in the CAN bus. Already you know it. The same concept, CAN bus, two ECUs wants to make a communication in CAN bus. Who will take care of the priority, and everything is based on the arbitration. Again, the same concept. I don't want to deeply enter into the how the CAN bus is working. That's not our goal in the presentation. So you can think about it and you can note it and you can see separately. And after our webinar, what is CAN bus and other things. So this is the way we are placing the ECU inside the car. But always we'll give the priority to the safety. So brake system, gearbox, your active suspension, and airbag and ABS. These all are the things are will get the more priority inside the automotive vehicle. And this is a protocol. What are the protocols we are using inside the automotive? J1939 was old K-line protocol. UDS is the not a communication protocol, it's a service protocol. We have a two kind of protocol inside the automotive field. One is communication protocol, CAN, KWP 2000, and FlexRay. These LIN, MOST, these are all the protocols for the communication protocol. UDS is a service protocol. OBD, I don't know how many people have heard the word called OBD, onboard diagnostics. When you have taken your vehicle to the garage, how the garage guys are quickly finding out the problem or malfunction inside your car. That is, everything is based on automotive electronics. Currently, we are storing all the information inside the memory. So you are taking your vehicle to the garage, and there we will have all the testing software. They will read the information from the electronic control unit. They can find out what is the problem inside your car. Because as an electronic control unit supplier, we are sharing the memory with the OEM. Who is OEM or who is supplier? OEM is original equipment manufacturer, BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, and Nissan. These all are the companies, or those are the guys are OEMs, original equipment manufacturer. Bosch, Continental, Delphi Automation, and these are the guys are the suppliers. They will supply the ECU, electronic control unit. Major supplier is Robert Bosch. Robert Bosch is supplying the electronic control unit to the various OEMs. So here OEM will have a memory and supplier have a memory. Are you taking your vehicle to the Bosch garage? No. So always service will be given by OEM only. So when you are taking your vehicle, for an example, you have Audi car, you are taking your vehicle to the Audi garage for testing and clearing your malfunction inside the car. So they will take your car, they will take care of the ECU, and they will find out what is the problem by they reading them from the memory. What they will read the memory? They will read the code. That code is got the DTC code, diagnostic trouble code. The diagnostic trouble code will be automatically written inside the memory when you are while you are driving your car. That is called OBD, onboard diagnostics. The OBD, it comes into the picture in 1990 itself, but not currently. Already some people knows about it in 2000, 2010. Via OBD only, they have found out everything. So when we are finding the malfunction related errors and everything inside the garage, then it is called off-board diagnostics. When the car is running, the car itself will diagnose. That is called onboard diagnostics. This is again a kind of detailed picture where we are keeping the ECU, who is taking care of the part, and mainly this picture will clearly say that where is the body control ECU is there and what is the role of central gateway. So always gateway ECUs will collect the information from the ECU, that means body control unit and powertrain, and it will keep the information, and from there telematics unit and other ECUs, it will provide the information. So currently, previous in olden days, not olden days in the sense, don't think about 50s, 90s, 70s, olden days in the sense 2000. There, automatically one engine control unit itself will work as a gateway. But currently, in modern vehicle, we introduce a lot of application. So one ECU can't able to handle two applications. That is the reason the vehicle, the OEM have introduced the ECU called central gateway ECU. So his work is will collect the information and it will provide the information to the other ECUs. That is the role of central gateway. So this is the way current vehicle communication is happening inside the currently the communication is happening inside the vehicle. Next, we will go to the industry 4.0. So before that, now you can collect all the things what we discussed, electronics and ECU role, and how we are placing, how the OEM is placing inside the vehicle. So these are the things we have seen. Next, these are the common electronics. Commonly we place that how we are going to change our ordinary car. So ordinary car can contains 40 ECU, 200 ECU, depends on the applications of the vehicle. And after that, how we are going to change this one to smart car. Before entering into the IoT, we will see the industry 4.0. So why Industry 4.0 is a peak topic right now with IoT, machine learning? What kind of support industry will get from the Industry 4.0? So in the Industry 4.0 is nothing about its connectedness. Everything will be connected. That's all. Industry 4.0 is over. But how the lifetime and evolution of Industry 4.0? In 1784, think about it, 300 years before, Industry 1.0 has introduced. That time, just we used only the steam power, because that time people thinks in the robot, okay, we have to manufacture something, so we have a steam, we can use it. After 100 years, in 1870, we the necessity comes, the mass production, so assembly line is introduced because of electrical energy. So we moved from steam to electrical energy. We got the support from the electrical energy in 1970. So we need to start to introduce the motors and other things. But after 100 years, 1969, electronics started the main role inside the market. Then we start to think about automation. But the same mass production, why we need to use a human resource? We can go in this way of automation. So that time only we introduced a PLC, SCADA in 1970, after 1970. And we started to think about computers as well. So that is the reason Industry 3.0, you can think about PLC machines and the role of SCADA, and everything will come inside the Industry 3.0. Okay, now we have automation, we have a computer, we have electronics. Is that enough? No. Now the same electronics, same computers is moved to the smart electronics and smart computers, and we started to introduce the smart sensors as well. So we are calling right now in 2020, that means today, is Industry 4.0. So all the industries now need a more production. So by using human resource, only we can't able to produce that mass production. So that is the reason we need a machines. So currently, what kind of machine we need? Robot. So cipher physical system, and we have a possibility for IoT. We have a possibility for networks. What do you mean by networks? One machine can able to talk to another machine right now. So this Industry 4.0 introduced by German guys. Currently in Germany, most of the industry started to use Industry 4.0, but India not much. But definitely within 5 years, we will reach Industry 4.0 in our industries also. So the point is how the mission has started to, one mission, how the man has started to communicate with the mission. That is based on Industry 4.0. This is the evolution of Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. The unimaginable will be there in the Industry 5.0. And Industry 4.0, currently we need a lot of support from the 5G network. But currently we have a 4G network. The industry started to think about 5G network. We are not so far away to reach the 5G. Maybe within 2 to 3 years, we will reach the 5G. That is a target, but let's see. And okay, what Industry 4.0 is, everything is fine, but we are discussing about the automotive electronics. Is there automotive field need the support from Industry 4.0? The answer is yes, definitely automotive field needs. Do you think the BMW car is completely connected by a human? No, it's a mission. Within 5 to 10 minutes, we can able to connect one BMW car. So think about it, how much autonomous robots will place the parts properly inside the vehicle. And you can imagine in the things about how much accurate precision needed from the robots and machine side. So these are the technologies were involved in Industry 4.0. So these are the technologies not introduced for Industry 4.0, but Industry 4.0 is using all these technologies. First, you can see that cloud computing, mobile technologies. Currently, we have Android, iOS, a lot of features in mobile technology. Mobile can able to talk to machine. And we can, mobile is a small device, but vehicle or other machine is a very big device. So how this can able to communicate M to M, machine to machine, according to cloud, 3D printing, and advanced robotics, big data, IoT, and cognitive computing. So we have and machine learning is also part of this. And from the survey, the machine learning and IoT is the side of the coin. So one coin has two sides. One side is IoT, another side is machine learning. We can't avoid any one of the side. And the cognitive learning, currently IBM is putting a lot of effort on that. IBM Watson, cognitive computing, the machine itself has to start to think about it. That is related. You can think about in the way of the movie called Robo, how when the machine has to start think about it, what has happened, the same thing will come in the cognitive learning and other things. But industry is not thinking about to give the feelings to the machine. The machine started to learn. The Facebook is also tried the same thing that called the chatbot. So currently the chatbot is one of the nicest example regarding with the software. So whenever we are entering into the site, for an example, if you are entering Simply Learn for a learning site, automatically one chatbot will come. Even tomorrow in Satyabama also, maybe they can introduce one chatbot will come. We can ask related to the admission. So we don't need to keep any person there. Automatically the man get all the information related with the admission or any kind of webinar that Satyabama is planning in future. Like one chatbot will come, we can ask to the mission, is there any future plan for webinar from Satyabama University? Then the chatbot will give the reply, yes, it's planned. You can read this document about, you can register or enroll in this link. So these kind of information we need. This means this kind of support the people are expecting from the chatbot. Chatbot is one of the example for how the mission has to start to think about in the way according to how the questions. So we can frame a lot of questions. Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, lot of examples are there. Okay, so now we can go to enter into the IoT. How automotive industry get the support from the IoT and how we are adapting IoT inside the automotive industry. Okay, when we are thinking about the IoT, so I don't want to say that what is IoT and other things, because you people already heard the lot of places from the what is IoT. But even though IoT, we all knows about it, connected the devices within the network, even human to mission or mission to mission inside the network. Okay, what kind of network? Who will provide the network? Wi-Fi always will come in the mind. Wi-Fi, that means internet. Okay, but is it possible inside the vehicle to keep Wi-Fi? Yeah, it's possible, but it's always possible. No, not always. So we can go to the cellular 3G, 4G, 5G. Okay, is it 3G, 4G, 5G also possible? No, that is also very less limited functionality we have. Then the next option is LoRaWAN and Sigfox and NB-IoT. So these all are the three cellular related technologies or networks is supporting the automotive field. So that is also one of the widest area to discuss about. After 3G, 4G, 5G, something else we have LoRaWAN, Sigfox and NB-IoT. And the next thing is car to car connectivity. Yeah, already mission to mission communication we are talking about it. So we need IoT there. And next one is fleet management for a truck. And when we are taking care the lot of goods from one place to another place, how truck is going to communicate? So car and trucks, that means higher end vehicles. So how these all are the things to going to communicate. Okay, then what kind of support automotive industry is expecting from the IoT? That is again a predictive maintenance. What do you mean by predictive maintenance? We want to find out, the automotive industry wants to find out the malfunction and everything as much as earlier. So these are the predictive maintenance. We can see some examples. The first one is in automotive industry, they relate to the battery condition. Why I have taken example of battery condition? Because tomorrow it's everything about electric vehicle. Today is maybe combustion, and Indian government and all other governments in you can see in the European market already electric vehicles are introduced and they started to use by using battery, and they have a lot of charge station on the road itself. They can charge it. But currently in India is not the case, but we are moving towards. So that's why I have taken an example from the battery condition. You can think about it. Battery. Okay. If battery condition is low, if the car is detecting a low battery, it should inform to the driver first. Okay. How it will inform to the driver? Automatically, already we discussed about, we have a ECU. ECU will collect the information of battery condition and it will show to the display to the driver, battery is low. So please charge it as soon as possible. Maximum you can drive 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer. Something like that, a kind of information will show in the dashboard. It's a kind of fuel, but we can think about battery. Then automatically the alert will go to the OEMs also, manufacturing guys also, for want to predict the battery conditions, how much fast it is. These are the things. So it will go to the cloud. So even BMW have a separate cloud, Audi have a separate cloud. All the information will go there based on the owner details. The same information will go to the owner mobile also. And same way, driver also will get the information. Why these many information we have to provide it? So the reason is for protective. The next thing is data is transferred to cloud. Who will take care of all these things? The network related IoT will take care, but predictive maintenance algorithm, machine learning will take care. So now we send alert to all the people and finally issue is avoided. So automatically driver will come to know my car battery is low, I have to charge it immediately. So he will charge it immediately. But in future, we can keep multiple batteries. They can replace the battery also. Depends on the application. This is one of the application where automotive electronics, the engine control is electronic control unit, and IoT and machine learning is combined together, and where we are discussing about all the technologies like big data. For an example, industry and survey is saying that 20 billion devices will be connected in 2020. If you are taking the home automation, one example might be from the home we will have 100 data, but take about one vehicle. When you are running one vehicle, you will have a lot and lots of data, but then you can take care of the how many vehicles are there in Chennai. If you all the vehicles are communicating IoT, then think about it, how much millions and billions of data will be provided from the automotive industry to the IoT network. So that is the reason IoT is playing the main role in automotive field. The reason is vehicle have a lot of data, lot of sensors, lot of data at the same time will be sent to the outside world. And we can take the second, diagnostics and prognostics. In the carriage, before you enter into the carriage, how we can find out? One simple example is a filter, smoke and emission related. Currently, government is focusing a lot of things related emission. You already heard last year about PS4, PS5, PS6. Lot of confusion between PS4 and PS6. Government forced to, we should move to PS6. That is everything related with the emission. If something is taken care by your vehicle, then how much happy the user will be. So think about it. Automatically vehicle itself start to find out, okay, this is my problem, and treat me as soon as possible. The same related with the human body. So that is the reason I initially told the engine is, if you think in the way heart, and electronic control in his brain. Automatically brain is informing to the all the information related, okay, these are the problems, these are the problems, and driver, automatically driver will come to know, okay, how much fast I have to move, and when I have to take vehicle to the garage, all the information will be provided to from the vehicle. This is a current scenario. You know the future scenario, we can convert driver as a passenger. We don't, the automotive industry, no need of drivers. Automatically car itself will take it. That is autonomous cars. Already, if you will ask the question to me, is there any autonomous cars on the road? No, no self-driving car right now. But the testing is going on between Google, Uber, and BMW, and all other people started to testing their self-driving cars. But maybe the industry is saying that 3 to 5 years, maybe we can see some cars, self-driving cars on the roads. But India, we don't know. But maybe in US, they are thinking in the way, maybe within 3 to 5 years, they are saying that. But let's see. Okay, now we discussed about IoT application, but the next very important IoT application we need related with the over the air. Might be with the same over the air. It's not a new for us. It's already been tested in the mobile world. If the iOS or Android OS or Android team wants to update the OS, they are not asking the customer to take your mobile to the respective store and you can update your OS. This was old, but currently, if you have internet, you can download the things from cloud and you can update your phone OS automatically. If you give the permission to phone, that means your mobile, automatically phone itself will take care. Whenever the update comes, automatically get update. The same case we need to implement for car as well. The same firmware, the same software want to update as a over the air. We can call it is in the automotive field called SOTA, software over the air update. Which company is mainly focusing is Tesla. Elon Musk is purely mainly focusing over the air update. He achieved it as well. One simple example I want to say, in Tesla car, they have tested it. When they are applying the brake, that it took some around 100 feet to stop that vehicle. So there was a malfunction inside the software. Around he sold 150 vehicle outside the market. So they think about in the way, now only if we are calling the people, that means from the user, some problem inside your car, you spend around 30 lakhs or 50 lakhs for your car, but there is no other chances. You have to take your car to respective carriage, then we will update the software. If Elon Musk or Tesla will say the same word, then definitely customer will not be happy. So what they have done is, they planned in the way, they updated respective body control unit, the brake control unit, ECU software, that means firmware via cloud. Automatically they achieved it. So they will send the data to the Tesla cloud, and from the Tesla cloud, all the cars, the update will automatically, they have done automatically without the user, even customer doesn't say you yeah, I want to update it, because necessary, it should be updated. So automatically the Tesla will be updated. They tested successfully. So over the air update also, it will come in the future. But currently in the top level European market, Tesla, BMW have tested it. They achieved it. And the second thing is, while flashing the software inside the assembly line itself, we are not preferring via CAN bus or yeah, this is on the second case. You can see the CAN related. This is the way they are flashing their ECU, but no one is preferring this way. Remote flash, that is also achieved. This is one example from the Vector. Already you know about this, the role of Vector. They are providing a lot of tools to automotive industry as well. So they also have it, update installer. for updating the software remotely and via mutual inductance also, like how we can do the wireless charging. The same way, wirelessly we achieved the flashing our ECU. Flashing in the sense, the first level of software is inside our electronic control unit. Flashing the car means they are going to update the firmware of electronic control unit. The firmware is not same for all the electronic control unit, depends on the application, it will vary. For an example, ABS, we have a separate ECU. So ABS related all information will be flashed inside the ABS ECU. So this is the support from the IoT, mainly main support. We have a lot of applications, but main applications are related with SOTA, because it's a 1 hour webinar and we can't be able to talk about all the applications related with IoT. But we have a lot, and automotive industry is expecting and using a lot of applications related with safety and over the air update. But in this, what I am communicating or saying to you people is mainly what are the future automotive industry is expecting in the upcoming days. The over the air and car to car communication, how the car to car communication. So initially, the before half an hour, I told the word called car to car communication. That means vehicle to vehicle and V2I. This is a future topic from our side. So vehicle to vehicle, the communication, it's going to happen. I will talk about in the upcoming slides. See that connected cars in IoT technologies and enabling in car Wi-Fi. So you can think about it. The Wi-Fi possibility is very rare. You can't rely on Wi-Fi in all the places. Wi-Fi is a medium. So for IoT support, so you can't expect Wi-Fi in all the places wherever you are taking care, you are riding. So we can't expect in all the places. But cellular right now, it's already 90% of the places. That means in the world, it's covered by cellular. We all people are using mobile, and the cellular possibilities we have. They have deployed a base station in all the places. So cellular will cover the 90%. But even still, we can't rely on cellular because still we have a 10%, right? We have some problem with the cellular also. There only I talked about the communication called LoRaWAN. That means LoRa and Sigfox, NB-IoT, network band IoT, and these are the technologies supporting there in the 10% as well. Okay, and the next thing is connected cars and IoT technologies. The connected cars, why the car has to communicate with another car? That is mandatory. One car has to communicate with another car because already driver are inside it. Driver knows it. Related with driver knows about it, how to control the vehicle and everything. But still, why one car has to communicate with another car? The reason is the safety, and you can think about in the way of traffic signal related and the road condition, and all the past experience from the one car will pass to the another car. Then based on the experience from the one car, for an example, I am communicating with another human. Another one human is saying that to the another human. The human one to talking to human two, say that don't travel in this way, don't walk in this way because road or pathway is not so good. A lot of problems are there. Then automatically the another human thinks in the way, will take a reroute. The same way for car as well. And if one car is driving, it started to collide with another car, the communication will happen between the cars, then automatically one car will understand, okay, we have to reduce the speed, and automatically the accident will get avoided, the collision will get avoided. And parking, next in the way of parking, smart parking. Google is talking about smart parking, all the people are talking about smart parking. The same way one car will pass the information to the, in the parking, we can think about in the way NFC and like beacons. We need the support of NFC, beacons, and all other technologies are needed in these kind of parking related areas, and application of parking and traffic information. And if you want to pass the information to Twitter, email or Facebook, how Google is collecting all the information wherever you are going based on GPS. The same way Google again going to collect the information from the car itself. So you will then you can imagine it. But safety will be there. Next, that's only I kept the word called. Now you can think about it the way called. We are talking about passing the information outside the world, keeping the information in the cloud, and communicating between cars to cars, and who will take care of the safety. So that means data safety. We can call it as security. That's why I kept one more 10 minutes talk about security as well. So you can think about it now. Car to car is vehicle to vehicle is communicated, and they started to communicate, and they started to passing the information or sharing the information between two vehicles, and everything is clear. And if you want to keep the information in Twitter or messages or wherever you want, you can keep it. That is also, there is no limiter. Sky is only limit. Nothing is, you don't have any limit there. And next one is Now we talked about vehicle to vehicle. Then what do you mean by vehicle to infrastructure? So vehicle to vehicle, we can imagine it. But in future, vehicle is going to communicate with the road. Can you imagine it? That is vehicle to infrastructure, not only road. Vehicle is going to talk to road. Vehicle is going to talk to our apartments. Vehicle is going to talk about your traffic signals. Everything related in the autonomous car. That is vehicle to infrastructure. So the current peak topic is SOTA, vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to infrastructure communication, and the medium, the network coverage, and industry 4.0. These are related with the IoT and industry 4.0 in automotive field. Next, this future is you know about it, that how we are powering our vehicle, gas, electric, fuel cell, diesel, lithium ion, and currently we are working on mainly the current, according to BMW, where we are working is fuel cell and battery management system is the peak topic for us. And autonomous cars is parallelly going on, but instead of the one change for combustion engine is now currently fuel cell and BMS, battery management system. And these are the things already we have seen it. Now we discussed about data, passing the data. Data are there here and there, but who is going to protect the data? How we can protect the data in automotive field? One vehicle is sending a lot of, we can say millions of information is coming outside of one vehicle. So who will protect it? If anyone can able to steal the data, then what will happen is they can automatically, hackers can automatically hack your vehicle and they can change the behavior of your vehicle. Then automatically again it's a problem for you only. Might be a lot of movies are there in Hollywood and Tamil movies also called the Key, but that's not true. But partially is true, but not fully true. In the Key, the hacker can able to hack one woman when she was driving, and automatically the hacker made a accident and completely the vehicle got collapsed. The movie called name Key, but that is not the 100% is not possible. Partially it's possible, but still the automotive industry is trying to improve the security in all the perspective. Okay, then now we'll see what kind of security currently is there, but the security topic will always be there whenever we are going to talk about data. Okay, what is the security risk in the connected cars? First is your personal data may be theft, vehicle theft, your connection risk, and mobile application security vulnerability. If you are failed to keep up to the latest update. What do you mean by fail to keep latest update? The topic of over the air. If you are not accepting the latest firmware, you are still roaming with the car is roaming with old software. The same way for mobile. I'm not interested to update anything related with the new OS from the iOS or Android. But what will happen? Then the possibilities and securities and the functionalities and comfort level of latest related to the OS, I will not get it. The user will not get that comfort. So always they will sitting with the old OS and old functionalities. The same way for car as well. So these are not the security risks, but we have a lot of security risks, but these are major security risks. Okay, how automotive field is improving or implementing their security inside the vehicle. So we can consider in the way 4 layers of automotive security. The first one is security interface. Okay, say what do you mean by security interface? We have Wi-Fi, so we have to improve the security in your medium. Outside when we are sending the data like Wi-Fi, your cellular, that means 3G or 4G or 5G or tomorrow LoRa. So where in those places, how we are going to improve the security? That is security interface. Second one is security gateway. Already we talked about the gateway ECU. So in the gateway ECU, inside the car itself, when we are transferring the data from one ECU to another ECU via bus, the FlexRay is a protocol already told. CAN-FT is the protocol. High-speed CAN is the protocol. So in via these all are the CAN. That means in these buses, when we are transferring the data or transmitting data between ECUs, how we are going to secure it? So whenever we are sending the data, we have to encrypt it, right? For an example, I am talking to you, or you, whenever, I don't know how many people have seen in the WhatsApp, they used to mention that AES 128-bit encryption mechanism is implemented in this WhatsApp. What do you mean by the encryption and decryption mechanism? We will see it in the further. So we have to improve the security inside the car itself. Secure processing. When we are sending the data, we should not send a plain data as it is. We have to change the plain data to some other data. That means cipher data. So that is secure processing and secure network. So the FlexRay, when the FlexRay is transmitting, that means when we are sending the data via FlexRay, there also we have to implement the security. So these are the 4 layers of security. It's implemented in automotive field. This is the thing what we have discussed now. So now I have shown the image like, okay, we have to implement security here, we have to implement security here, we have to implement security here. Okay, the word security. What do you mean this word contains security? This is called encryption. In olden days, Julian Caesar period, they also started the communication, right? How they secured it. Already we have seen and we have heard a lot of stories. We have to send the data in the via the communication medium. That time not like Wi-Fi or cellular. That time is bird. So the transmitting medium is bird. So there we used to keep and tie one paper to send the information to one person to another person. So that time they change the word. For an example, I want to meet you. They will change in the sense, they will change with I want to meet you with some other data. But when I'm changing the data, I know what is the original text. But when I'm sending to the second person, the another person, how they will come to know? They have to do the decryption. How they will do the decryption? Because when I'm sending the data, I will keep with some key. In olden periods, Julian Caesar period, when they are sending a data, the key is I want to meet you in I plus with 3 in the sense I, J, K. Instead of I, they will keep L because the key is 3. I, W means they will not keep W. Then they will increase with 3 alphabets. They will just go with the ascending order of the alphabets or descending order of the alphabets. That's their wish. So the key there is 3 is the key or 4 is the key. The number which one they were used to increment the alphabet. The same way, but do you think Julian Caesar period, there was no hackers. Hackers are very less. But current scenario, more hackers. We need a lot of security. So we can't go with the simple key 3, 4, 5. So we need to go in a bigger level of encryption. So there we introduce a concept called asymmetric and symmetric. So first, you can hide the upper layer of things, and you can think about the plain text, ciphertext, and so plain text will start out from when the ECU sending the communication. Here in this picture, when the FlexRay first ECU wants to send the data to gateway, they will start with plain text. In between, they will change the data to ciphertext by using some mechanism. So currently we are calling that one as algorithm. The AES 128-bit, what you have seen in WhatsApp, that is algorithm. AES, DSA, RSA, ECC, but AES, DSA, RSA, SHA-256, SHA-512, MDS, we have a lot of algorithms. And Hillman algorithms, lot of algorithms are there. But currently in automotive field is preferring ECC, elliptic curve cryptography. We are not preferring AES because asymmetric encryption resides on elliptic curve cryptography. So the current peak cryptographic algorithm. So in asymmetric encryption, already we talked about the key. In asymmetric, we will get a 2 key. One is public key, another one is private key. So public key is available for all the people, but private keys only will be there in the OEM, original equipment manufacturer. So now think about that encryption related way, how the automotive field is encrypting and say how automotive fields are maintaining security. This is one mechanism. And the cryptography is again a vast topic. In automotive field, it's very bigger now. Next thing is symmetric. Same way, but we will use a common key between the plain text and ciphertext. That is the public key. That is symmetric encryption mechanism. The AES is using the symmetric, and other algorithms, security algorithms, are using asymmetric encryption. But again, I'm saying elliptic curve cryptography is the preferable security algorithm in automotive field. So this is the way protection is happening inside the security. Okay, now we protected our data, but when you are sending the data to communication mediums, we can protect our data by using some keys, and we will use some salt and other things related to changing the ciphertext, and everything is fine. But how much of data we are sending, and when we are sending these many billions and millions of data, how we can store all this information? Cloud, yeah, it's fine. But we can't say that only plain word called cloud. Okay, we can store it in cloud. We can store it in cloud. Yeah, we can store it in cloud. But what kind of technology we are using inside of the cloud? The technology there is big data. So when we are coming to the big data, like you can think about in the way in olden days, the database, RDBMS, real-time database. And then after that, we move to SQL, NoSQL. Currently, we are in Firebase. So the Firebase is the kind of database. We are storing all the things inside the cloud, and we are maintaining the security there. Think about it. Billions of data comes into the cloud. How we can protect and how we can manage all the data. Okay, this is not only about the automotive field. When we are discussing about the industry 4.0, there you can think about the industry from like rubber factories or lot of manufacturing factories are there. What kind of protocol they are using? We are using automotive in CAN. They are using Modbus protocol, Picobus protocol, Hostlink protocol, and all other things. Okay, now protocol industry 4.0 hardware protocol, we know RS-232, RS-485, Modbus, Hostlink protocol, and Picobus protocol. Lot of protocols are there. In when we are coming to automotive field, we have a CAN, FlexRay, LIN, MOS. These all are the protocols are there. Okay, these all are the hardware related protocols. But what kind of protocol industry is preferring when we are talking about IoT and machine learning? The protocol preference there is TCP/IP, transmission control protocol. So all the communication will happen only in the OSA layer. We have 7 layers. We have to communicate within 7 layers only. There is no other option. So when we are going to network related, the main preference is TCP/IP. Then UDP. UDP is not at all preferable in the automotive field because that is connectionless protocol. But TCP is the more secure connection protocol. We are using it. But currently in automotive field, when they want to transfer the data, what kind of protocol they are using? That the protocol is called MQTT. Message queue transfer telemetry protocol. So these are the protocols we are using in the network related in the automotive field. These all are more preferable. Okay, this protocol we are using. Now hardware protocol we have support, and software protocol also we have support. And what kind of attack is possible related with the security? We have a lot of attacks. Mainly one is DDoS attack. And so these are the attacks we have to protect. Inside same kind of attacks attack what we have faced when we use the web browser, the same thing is applicable for the automotive field as well. So the discussion and overview from our this webinar is, yeah, it's already we have taken 5 minutes extra. So the overview of the complete webinar is automotive field. It's not introducing anything newly, no more invention related with IoT and machine learning. We are taking care everything in the whatever is existing. We are combining together, and we are trying to, that means the OEMs, original equipment manufacturer, trying to produce more smart cars currently related with what are the technologies. The main is IoT and machine learning. The machine learning is mainly for a safety and writing algorithm, the role of machine learning in automotive field. But we have discussed everything related to the till 2020. I didn't focus anything related to electric vehicle and hybrid vehicle. Lot of technologies are there still in electric and hybrid vehicle. So the future is moving towards, according to automotive field, currently IoT, machine learning, and everything is combined is autonomous cars and electric vehicle and fuel cell and connected vehicles. So these all are the things are the future in automotive field. So, and if you still deeperly looking, now currently industry is focusing mainly on for connected vehicles like OTA, over the air update. And when the 5G is introduced, might be we can see a lot of smart vehicles on the roads within 3 to 5 years. We are not so far, but according to the students, what they can learn to enter into the automotive electronics field, mainly we are using, I'm an embedded system guy. So whatever I learned in Satyabama, that means in embedded system, I'm completely applying all these things in automotive field. Same, the cryptography I learned there and everything. So what are the papers, whatever I have done in the while doing my master, that's really helpful for me a lot. I am not doing anything apart from my studies. Whatever I learned in engineering and in my master, I'm applying everything in the automotive field. So to the students, if you want to enter into this kind of field, you no need to search about IoT or machine learning. So mainly related with automotive, we have a lot of areas. So mainly we are focusing C and Python languages, and AutoSAR is a current peak currently in automotive field, according to the software developers. But I'm a software developer, I'm an embedded guy, so I'm just conveyed the things, and we discussed and we talked about related about embedded system, what are the roles of in automotive field. So do you have any questions? Hello? Yeah, I have 3 chat.
Yeah. We have one question from Mr. Shushant Kumar. Is Tesla having self-driving cars right now?
Yeah, exactly. So not only Tesla and all the people are already working towards on that one. But one example is Uber and Google. Those guys already tested in US, but unfortunately they met an accident. They created an accident by using self-driving cars. So now it's they no one have a we can say that in the way authorization to run the self-driving cars on the roads. But still, development and testing everything is going on not only in Tesla, all the OEMs are doing that one.
Okay, thank you. Dear
And I
participants,
heard it from the Sukumari, my voice is not audible, but I didn't get from no one. Sorry, really,
no,
I
no,
don't know about that whether my voice is low or not.
no, it was audible, sir. It
It
was.
was audible, right? Yeah, thank you. Is there any other anyone have a question? Anything is fine. Yeah, that's how we can start our career in IoT and ML. How I started my from my own experience, I'm saying I initially started with the meetups, and I have just went for the lot of IoT webinars and seminars, and for the lot of project presentations. And you can start IoT and ML always from the basics and try to get job in startup, because if possible, and for while you are doing the final year project, mainly you can pick it up from the IoT and ML. But IoT and ML mainly Python. You can focus Python, the programming language. For IoT, from my preference, again I am saying the IoT point of view, you can be a gateway guy, or you can sit in the application, or you can sit with the electronics. That depends. If you want to sit with the electronics, C language is the preferable with the microcontroller. For an example, you can connect multiple sensors and you can collect the data. And if you want to sit in gateway related, after sending the data from electronics guys, you want to create a things in cloud, then you have to learn about Java mainly. Not only Java, we have a lot of programming languages, but everything is based on Java. So currently in the cloud and other things, you can learn Java, Bootstrap and other things. But when you are going for a mobile application, and you have to think about iOS and Android. So you can think in the way where you want to place. But mainly, according you want to focus on software, C and Python is more important for IoT and ML.
Okay, sir.
Yes, software keys. Yeah, this is a good question from you, Sushant. In Apple is actually from iPhone with BMW partnership. Exactly. Currently, the problem with the BM, not only what kind of problem we faced in the according to BMW is the first problem in the security level is in 2015 we introduced one key, but automatically the key is can be hackable from the hackers, and they can also by using the keys they can open the car, they can automate it. Then we introduced the concept called immobilizer, but that is completely what is happening inside the mobile immobilizer. We can't say that because it's fully confidential. But the same whatever we have a partnership with Apple for because currently open locking and closing the door via mobile also is possible. So that concept is called immobilizer. Immobilizer topic is common for all the not common for all the OEMs, but you can find many materials in internet about the immobilizer. But we are use BMW is using a rolling key. No more physical keys. Yes, no more physical keys. We are no the reason of future, we can say that the physical things we want to take it, everything should be automated. That's a point here. And we want to introduce security in all those things. That is the reason. Your question is we are seeing a future with no physical keys. The reason is here everything is rolling key with app. Not currently we are with Apple, but we introduce a future with opening and locking and unlocking with the mobile phone.
Okay.
Yeah, is there any other question related with security? You can ask me related software anything. What kind of algorithm we are using, which one is preferable, and if you know something about it, or you know want about algorithms related what we are using in IoT, and I can help you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, ma'am, one more question. I got it from
Yeah.
Shishant. Who is working on a OS that is universal, that is being smartphone and cars, smart devices, etc. What is your view? Not only Huawei, actually, I don't know whether you people have heard about it or not. Ali OS. That means Alibaba. Alibaba already worked on a OS for automotive, and currently we have our own OS, and Bosch have our own OS, and Delphi have our own OS. So we all have started to work on our own OS. There is Huawei is also started one OS. And now think about it, you can always one question in mind, Why Google is working for automotive? Is Google having a car? No. Is Uber is having a car? No. And why they have to work on it? So that is everything related with IoT and machine learning. Even Huawei and BMW, we have a separate OS, and the next Ali OS already started, and they are in a discussion. So all the OEM started with their own OS. It's mandatory right now. We can't avoid it. It's same like smartphone. In olden days, the only Nokia has introduced, and now currently a lot of OS for smartphone as well. The same way for cars, because we can't avoid it. Are you people are interested with any other topics related with automotive electronics? Like if you need industry 4.0 more about it, because this is a 1 hour seminar I want to convey related to automotive electronics. That's why I covered 10 minutes industry 4.0 and related with IoT security and basics of automotive electronics and IoT. So we clubbed 4 topics together and we discussed about it. And in your point of view, if you need something else also, we can connect it via Karthikeyan sir and Tony ma'am. That's, I'm always ready to help in this point of view related to the webinars to Satyabhama.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Karodiar. It was a very informative session. Now I call upon Dr. S. Karthikeyan, FIE, Fellowship Institute of Engineers, Head IEI Coordinator, to deliver the vote of thanks.
On behalf of the management of Satyabhama Institute of Science and Technology, I thank Mr. Karudiyar. Though he is an alumni, he agreed, voluntarily he agreed, and he has given his timing, and we have a very good informative session. Thank you, Mr. Karudiyar.
Thank
It is
you.
quite good. I was keep on watching up each and every nook and corner. It is an excellent session that we had. Really too good for our students also. They can able to have different technologies and different words that they can have it without any familiarities. They can have those familiarities with respect to different words and terminologies, so that they can also search and they can do their research work in a proper manner. I expect in future also some help with respect to this embedded oriented, IoT oriented uh, sessions, as well as our any sort of project work for our students also. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Karodiar. We are very proud of you. Both of us have taken class for you, and we are very proud. They're happy to see you that you have given a very wonderful and a very informative and interactive session. And we have one more question from Sushant, that is a 5G technology, a short range service. So how will it help in the future?
Related with the 5G, Shushant, we can't say that it's completely short range for the millimeter waves. It's actually, according to automotive field, 5G is because mainly 5G they want to introduce for the cellular, but the cellular automotive wants to use it in the way for long range only. That is the reason LoRa and Sigfox also we communicated. So the mainly for 5G, I don't think it's for in a millimeter range, because you can think about it, how many people, the complete world is waiting for the 5G technology in the world. So the expectation from the 5G is long range communication and faster communication, and and another thing is these two are the main important factor we are expecting from the 5G. But equivalent 5G, the concentrated topics on LoRa, Sigfox, and NB-IoT.
Okay.
So you can combine, you can refer a lot of materials in internet related with LoRa, Sigfox, and NB-IoT, and you will get a very clear picture why 5G, LoRa, NB-IoT, and Sigfox is important for not only automotive field, complete cellular.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your response. And dear participants, we thank you also for you had been so attentive in this session. The feedback link is shared in the chat box. You can post your feedback and fill the attendance form. And also the recorded session will be uploaded in the IEI Satyabhama YouTube channel. You can have it for your future reference. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Karodiar. Thank you, dear participants. Thank you all. We take a leave from you. Shall we conclude
Thank
this
you.
session, sir? Shall we
Yeah,
close?
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.